Today in the studio, I got a real treat for you. Rene Rodriguez. What's cracking?
What's up, man? It's good to be back.
If you guys don't follow this dude, you probably should. It's at C Rene Speak.
Yeah, good. You're
at C Rene Speak, R-E-N-E. Rene is kind of a, historically, if you ask me, a girl's name. Is that like French?
I was wondering where we started. No, that's actually a boy's name.
Well, yeah, French, right?
How many Renes do you know that are girls when you grew up? They're all men.
Yeah,
it's a man's name.
For white girls.
Yeah, when I grew up, all the Renes were girls, but I know that like Rene in France is like a guy.
Yeah.
It's almost like wrong.
And it's spelled different too. R-E-N-E, one E.
But you're obviously Hispanic.
Mm-hmm. Cuban. Yeah.
Did you come from Cuba?
Miami, about 96 miles away. Yeah, it's pretty close.
So folks, he's been on before. This guy's big in this circuit called public speaking. He speaks all over. Big Fortune companies bring him in to speak, and then he teaches people how to amplify their influence. And what's funny is you take people like nervous, skittish people and turn them into like freaking presenters.
Mm-hmm.
When the difference between being skittish and being a presenter means 5 times the revenue
easily.
How do you set your pricing?
How do I set the pricing?
Yeah, like I know it costs like $5,000 or something to come hang with you for a day or two.
Well, 6 per person. Yep, 6,000 per person to do
6,000 per person. They show up and you walk them through this basic framework. Not basic, but basically it's a framework, neuroscience backed framework, where you basically teach them human behavior and psychology all in a day and fix their freaking tics.
2.5 days, but yeah. Well, think about it this way. It's like, so let's have this conversation. You have people that, if you're approaching a girl or a guy, whatever you're into, or you're calling on a client, all of a sudden now, if you're at happy hour, you wouldn't have the same nerves that you have when you're doing that. I got people that come up to me afterwards and say, hey, does this work on like meeting, people you want to date? I'm like, well, yeah. I said, well, what's wrong? And they said, well, I just get nervous and I get uptight and, the whole nice guys finish last. I was like, nice guys finish last? I said, no. I said, nice guys are passive, manipulative liars. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, why are you being nice? He's like, well, I'm like, you like her, don't you? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, my mom taught me. I said, okay, if your mom taught you to be nice, and why aren't you nice to her, and her? Why only her? He's like, well,
I want to hump her.
Basically, yeah, you want something and you like her, right? There's nothing wrong with liking her, but she knows you're being nice to her because there's an underlying agenda. No different than when you call a client and you're being nice and you get nervous, you have an underlying agenda and you're trying to hide it. And I said, so the difference is, and she knows that people have been nice to her whole life for no reason. In the same way a client knows, I got salespeople calling me being all nice for no reason. And so the process is, and same person, I say, you know what, before we continue this conversation, will you ask her over there if I'm going to get towed? I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Where we're parked. He's like, yeah, sure. I go to the bathroom, come back. I go, what'd she say? She goes, no, you're fine. I'm like, were you nervous talking to her? He's like, no, why? I'm like, well, she's very attractive. He's like, no, I wasn't nervous. I said, because you didn't have an agenda. You just talked to her. I said, so speaking is the same thing. You get people on stage and all of a sudden their whole biology changes. They have great stuff to share. They have stories they want to do. They have all sorts of value they want to offer, but they get on stage and all of a sudden this fictitious
butt
fear.
puckers.
Everything. Yeah, butt pucker. I like that. That's true. But they get scared. And when you can help people get past that piece of it and then show them how to tell their story, because there is a sequence to it.
Sure.
And then they learn how to tell that story and they turn it into value. Everything changes. I mean, everything changes.
Income quadruples.
Easily.
You got people crying at your events.
Sometimes.
Is it because of the extreme transformation?
It's because the reality is when you're looking at coming on to speak, you're communicating with your body first. And so I tell people that light travels faster than sound. And so if you're sitting funny, if you've got nervous tics, if you're doing stuff, you're umming and on, whatever it is, we're seeing all of that visual first. And if you're visually communicating this with your body and you're trying to say this with your voice, I have to try to make that congruent because we're going for congruency. To do congruency, you got to look in the mirror. And some people don't like what they see in the mirror. Or looking in the mirror means they got to reflect on stuff that they never reflected on. childhood experiences, why they think the way they think. And when you make a change at that level, everything changes.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do.
Fluently?
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound like it.
Si quiere que te hablo español, te puedo hablar español. Yeah, I speak Spanish.
Full blown?
Full blown. I don't like business Spanish. That's a new one for me. I did a talk in Puerto Rico once. But
what's the difference between like Spanish and Mexican Spanish?
Well, Cuban Spanish is the best.
Well, no, but then there's a Spanish, which I don't really like Spanish as much, because Spanish, they have a TH, like instead of Barcelona, it's Barcelona.
It was the king. I think it was the king had a lisp, and that stuck at one point back in history. Yeah,
Barcelona, Spain. Is that Spanish?
It'd be Spanish from Spain.
How would a Mexican say it, Albert? Barcelona. Yeah, see? Mm-hmm. That's not Barcelona.
No, Barcelona.
So when someone says you speak Spanish, I always think Spanish, because the rest of it is still Spanish, but what kind of Spanish is it? Is there a thing called certain kind of Spanish?
Well, I mean, there's dialects like
you said
from
Cuban
the South.
Spanish. Is
yeah,
that
Cubans,
such a thing?
like we eat
How do you
our
say
R's.
Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Huh?
Barcelona.
How do you say it?
Barcelona.
Let's say, ¿cómo estás? How would you say, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
Sí, ¿cómo estás? I would say, ¿cómo estás? Like, ¿cómo estás? Well, we eat our S's and R's a lot of times. You don't even say them.
Interesting.
Just faster.
So how important is it to, again, a salesperson, a realtor? Because you help a lot of realtors, you help a lot of sales-based people, don't you?
Leaders, salespeople, anybody that needs to communicate a message.
But you're like big in a certain industry. Which one was it?
I'd say mortgage and real estate, but then it's different.
Mortgage and real estate.
Yeah, those would be two that own my social media, but I do like environmental
let's talk
health
to
and
those
safety.
guys, because I got a lot of them listening to me.
Let's talk to them.
So if you're running around, you're a real estate agent. Why would me learning to amplify my influence, how would that make me more money quickly? Like I came to your event and I'm making more money like almost immediately.
All right. So I want to break down why I think this is important. So people ask right now what's going on with the market. And I ask everybody. I even asked your guy that when he came in here, what do you think of the marketplace? I ask everybody. And I said, what do you think? And I look for their response. And a lot of people will say, well, it's tough right now and everything. And I'll ask somebody else to say, it's great. I love it. The difference between that answer is a reflection of what narrative you've chosen. And so the narrative is a construct of your reality. And so people ask me, what do I think of the marketplace? And I said, well, let me give you a different question. I said, what if it started raining in here? We're all in a big room and it started raining. Who's getting wet? Everyone. I said, okay, but Albert's got a raincoat. John over here has got an umbrella. Everyone's getting wet. I got my suit that I just pulled out. It's getting dripped. My hair is getting all messed up when I had hair. But these guys they're prepared are thinking, wow, isn't it beautiful here? This is great. But I think it sucks. They think it's great. Same is true if the lights went out for everybody. I said, who did the lights go out for? They went out for everybody. But if I come out and the lights go out and I turn on this flashlight and all of a sudden now where are all the eyes going? They're coming to me. And so
So you know who would be happy when the lights go out?
Who's that?
The lovers.
It's the king of tangents, I swear. I'm in the middle of a great point,
No, lovers.
Lovers. So, but the lights go out and all of a sudden, who's got an advantage? It's me. And so to me, everybody thinks the lights went out. I love it because I got a flashlight. I can see things that others can't see, and I'm going to attract people that others can't. See, my competitive advantage when everybody's doing good is hard to see. It's crowded. I'm running a race and everyone's running with me. I got some people kind of in front, some people kind of in back, some people next to me, and we're running. And for me to gain ground during that time, I have to run their speed plus. But during times like this, most people stop running. And if you're smart, you know that this isn't a bad time. This is a different time. This is a business cycle. And if they stop running and I continue to run, how much more market share am I gaining? It's exponential. And by the third month, they go, well, I guess we better start running again. I'm so far in front that they can't even see that. So that little story that I shared right now is called a narrative. And so to be able to influence people, amplify your influence, is about controlling the narrative. And if I'm a leader and somebody says, how am I doing? How's the market? I go, wow, it's a tough market right now. And you're talking to clients, they're like, yeah, and I know it's tough. Or I go, you know what? Hold on a second. The lights just went out for everybody and nobody can see. But let me tell you what we've been doing for the last 3 years in our company. We've been building flashlights and doing technology. We've been doing all the unsexy work so that right now, we have advantages over people. Let me show you some things that others can't see. And they're like, oh, hold on, what? And all of a sudden,
that's a good word track for someone with an objection, like, market shit, I ain't buying nothing.
Absolutely. And so now all of a sudden they're controlling the narrative, which explains reality. And if I dictate my reality based on the narrative, the best way to influence is by influencing the narrative. And the best way to influence narrative is storytelling. It's one of your best skills.
That's right. Well, not my best skills, but yeah.
Second best skill.
Come on now. So the question was, if I'm out there listening, I'm in the mortgage industry, I'm in the real estate industry. I could quite frankly be in any industry, but specifically those because you've caused yourself a little bit of recognition in that industry because you've talked to so many organizations for years. The value of going to this event and learning how to do that, to get that narrative. Put it in somebody's hand. Like, in other words, what would that equate to? Paint the picture.
What I just did was a sequence, right? So there's a process to that. Setting a frame, delivering a message, and then tying it down, which is what the message means.
Yeah, so you're going to teach me how to do that. But once I know how to do that, what can I do? How can I exact that power and turn it into dollars?
The most powerful tool we have right now is the ability to present an idea, because everybody's presenting ideas. And a lot of people right now, the media is trying to present an idea right now. Politics are presenting ideas. They're controlling narratives. And if you're meeting with a client and they've allowed the media or politics or their negative parents to control the narrative, your ability to shift the narrative will determine if you make the sale or not. And in times like this, you can make way more money for the person that understands that. And that's the piece. But there's a missing piece, which is why I think what we're doing together is going to be unique. It's the social media part, the personal branding pieces of it. How do you take that part and make it part of a social media strategy or roadmap, if you will?
Aha. See, that's where I come in. I can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, like, if I teach somebody how to build a personal brand and they don't do it, that's the obvious reason why it didn't work. Well, what if they tried to do it, but it still doesn't work? I think it wouldn't work doing what I'm telling them to do only if they don't understand that.
Well, I think that's
the framework of it all.
That's the framework of having, because you talk about the source, being the source. You say, love yourself and do all that stuff, which I love that message coming from you. Is the opposite of what somebody expects to hear, but it's yet at the core of who you are. And then how do I be content that's of quality? Right? Because everybody has content, they have stories, they have things that are happening to them every day. They've got, shit that just happens, but they don't realize that is a potential story to tell.
And how to tell the story.
And how.
So again, you're going to teach them all that, and then I'm going to teach them how to put it out on social media in such a way that they blow up. Ultimately, I wanted to call this program Star Maker, because I'm telling you, they do what you're telling them and what I'm telling them. Dude, it's just a matter of time before they're famous.
Well, it's the game changer now.
Now it's the game changer, because at the end of the day, it would change the game for somebody. Just yours would change the game. Mine would change the game if they executed it correctly. If you build a personal brand, dude, it'll blow your business up. Like if someone told me, Brad, what is the number one way I can get rich quick? My first thought is have a personal brand, because if you have a personal brand, you can make money so many ways. It's ridiculous. So to get that personal brand, which is easy to do for anyone, if they're willing to learn who they are and not be afraid to show it.
Yeah. Well, I think the piece is everybody talks about personal branding, but very few people know how to do it and how to explain it.
Well, I did it by accident. I'm building a nice little personal brand myself.
But isn't that the truth about anybody? Is we've just made more mistakes than anybody else.
Yeah, but like the other day, I asked somebody, it was a little coaching call. We did these tickets where I have to like coach people for an hour on the phone. And so we had like 80 people buy this big ticket item, which included that. So now I got like 80 of these to do, but I think they're fun and it's an opportunity to do content, and you can always sell them something while you're doing it. Like every time I'm talking to them, dude, I got 100 other things that I could help them with that cost money.
Yeah.
So it's another opportunity. It's like the craziest thing. It's easiest to do, like as far as a value. Like if you guys are doing a package. You say, and it includes a 1 hour, face-to-face Zoom with you guys. And then all I do, which is all you'd have to emulate, is, what's the problem? And people will start telling you their problem. Well, I'm trying to scale. It's hard to hire people. I said, oh, is it? I said, what ad do you have out? Don't have an ad out. Mm-hmm. You're telling me it's hard to hire people, but you don't have an ad out. You're not saying it on social media. You're not doing this. Like, is it really hard? Or are you just thinking it's hard? So that mindset needs to shift. Mindset, skill set, habits, and you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So dude, what I'm bringing to that party is 2 things. I'm going to show you exactly how to create a personal brand worth having so you can create unlimited deal flow. And I'm going to teach you how to have the mindset, skill set, and habits to become unstoppable. Couple it with Amplifii, bro. It's a game changer.
Well, you know what it makes this event different, though? This is what I love, because when we thought about this was, we always think about getting the biggest event. How many, the maximum people? We're saying, no, let's go 50 people.
Oh, yeah.
Just 50.
Yeah, folks, pay attention, by the
Serious
way, Bomb Squad, because
people.
you're hearing it first. Well, I don't even think we're even talking about this yet. Rene, myself, Las Vegas, Nevada. Intimate setting, coolest little freaking training center you've ever seen.
Catered reclining chairs.
Catered lunches, the whole bit, high end, right? And we're going to walk only a certain amount of people. Like, it isn't wide open. It's a small, intimate venue. Exactly how to freaking do exactly what he talked about, what I talked about, mixed together one day. And then we're going to go have some cocktails and cigars. That's a ticket, bro.
That is. Well, I think it's the intimate setting of people who are serious. But now what's cool is if you get an intimate setting, those are players that have opted in. And so now it's not only just you and I, but you're also looking at 50 other people that are of high value. And
well, the players better start playing, because there's only 50 seats.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 50 individual leather seats.
Reclined leather seats.
So I wouldn't wait until you figure shit out. I'd be like saying, I'm in. I'm going to go hang with Bradley, Rene Rodriguez for an entire day at the Lightspeed headquarters. We got studios. We got cameras. You'll get content. You'll get social proof. We've got stages. You can get up there and look like you're talking to a, audience of 1,000. But at the end of the day, you're going to walk out of there with everything you need to be a star. That's why I think we should call it Star Maker, not the Game Changer. But it will change the game.
I think Star Maker is an offshoot of what it makes. Maybe there's a Star Maker is like the next round, like the elite.
Yeah.
Because you can change the game, but then you want to become a star. It's more.
Hey, and by the way, if just this podcast, because I wrangled him in as he was coming through, told him to jump on here for a minute so we could promote this event, give a little value out to people. But shit, now I forgot what I was going to say. Damn, it was good. See, I need to go by Amplifii. No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, between now and the event, because it's what, October 22nd?
Yeah.
Between now and the event, where do they go? What's the website?
Gamechangerevent.com.
No, because you don't know.
Yeah. I think it's, we haven't even launched it yet. Let's go. I got it right here. I think it's changingthegame.events.
You sure?
I'm checking it right now.
So it's October 22nd. Between now and then, if you want a little taste of who Rodriguez is, go buy his book, Amplify Your Influence. Also, Google him. You got YouTube left and right videos, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can follow him on social media. He gives you all kinds of tips. I said you're big in, mortgages and real estate, but that's just where you spend a lot of time. You're known outside of those. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're selling cars. I don't care if you're selling houses. I don't care if you're selling loans. I don't care what you're selling. If you can't influence people, you're not making as much money as you could and should be. And if people think that that's manipulation, that's the other part of the problem is your mindset.
Yep.
So what if you come to one event where you learn to amplify, find your story, tell your story, get rid of your nerves, gain some confidence, get all the necessary ingredients to blow up, become an influencer, a literal influencer, and 10, 20x your business. Dude,
it's huge.
Go to
changingthegame.events. I'm going to confirm it now.
changingthegame.events. And you better hurry up because, again, once 50 sell, dude, we're shutting it down. We can't help more than 50 people at a time. It's going to be a fun deal.
I think it's going to be great. I think the fun part, too, is when you get a smaller group, you get more time and you get more behind the scenes. Like for me, like seeing Tony Robbins speak is cool, but seeing Tony Robbins and hanging with him backstage is a totally different experience.
Well, not only that, but you're going to get personally coached by us.
Absolutely.
And if people are listening, dude, it's not just a big motivational speech. Mm-mm. It's tactical.
Roll your sleeves up.
It's tactical stuff to where when you walk out of here, man, you've got the tools to 20x fit. It's even more X, because the reason I say that is because, dude, it took me 20 years to build an 8-figure company. With a personal brand I've built in just the last 3, I've put on 3 more 8-figure companies. I'm looking for a 4th and 5th one too. So I mean, like, it's so easy right now to build business. My main business is doing a lot better because of the personal brand. Deal flow shows up. I'm offered equity and opportunity everywhere, all from a personal brand. You take anybody with a personal brand, like Alberto Signoretto. I'm telling you, dude, a personal brand has helped him immensely. Look at Gary Vee, look at Ed Milet, look at Grant Cardone, look at everybody with a personal brand, a real one.
And the thing is, and this is where I got frustrated with people saying in the past, is everybody said build a brand, and they didn't realize how you have a formula. Like I have a formula for influence, you have a formula for the personal brand. And to me, seeing those come together, it's going to be ridiculous.
Well, I had to develop a formula so I could teach clients that are using my software, because I get a piece from my niece, so I need them to be superstars.
Little tad for Brad.
Folks, listen.
A little sliver for the liver.
Rene's got a jam because he's doing a thing tomorrow with Gary Vee, Ed Milet, Brad Lee, Albert Preciado. Who else? Neil Dingra. Mm-hmm. Every time, if I were anyone named Neil, by the way, I said this earlier, dude, if your name's Neil,
hey, what's your name?
You got the ability to just say Neil every time someone asks your name. Like someone walks up, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Neil. And I'd say it just like that and look at them like I expect them to, and see how many people would actually kneel.
I got to get that button. Or the crickets button.
That's the one I should have pushed.
Yeah, perfect.
Anyway, folks, come to this. October 22nd, only 50. Act fast. Let's make sure when this thing drops, they sell out in the 24-hour time period. Go to changingthegame.events. Changingthegame.events, October 22nd. Check it out. Until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.